Hello everyone, thank you so much for stopping by. Today I'm doing 10 cards, 1 kit using a special edition Thanksgiving kit from Love from Lizi. This is the Happy Harvest kit, perfect for fall or Thanksgiving. So we're just going to jump in with card number 1. Now I'm taking this little cut apart that came in the kit and I fussy cut it out. It's one of the ones that came in the 12 by 12 papers that had the tags. It's very cute. And just to give it a little dimension, I popped out the sentiment that says "Have a sweet day." I just cut it using my craft knife from the tag. And then to fix that open area back there, I'm just adding a piece of scratch paper. This way I can pop up my sentiment and give this tag a little bit of dimension. Just going to use some dimensional adhesive there and place that directly back in its place, but this time it's lifted up. And I think this is a great way to add dimension to a sentiment without having to destroy your tag. Okay, once I have that done, I am going to go in with some pattern papers. Now I thought the blue and the polka dotted yellow would work perfect, so I cut out 2 panels with that. And then to give it a finished look, I'm going in with some vintage photo distress ink. I'm just going to go around all the edges of my panel and my tag. I'm just trying to figure out my placement here. Now I popped up both of those panels with some fun foam, and then I'm also popping up the tag with some fun foam. Just going to remove the fun foam that I use has adhesive backing, and so I'm just removing the backing off of there. I'm going to place that in the lower part of my card base, and then I'm taking this is some ivory ribbon. I just tied a bow at the very top of my tag. Now for a little bit of accent, this kit did come with real pretty leaf dies, so I cut out 2 of them using the pattern paper. And I'm just going to use my scoring tool here, and I'm going to crease it just to give the leaves a little bit of dimension. And then I'm going to add some dimensional adhesive behind there and stick it right underneath my bow on my card base. I added a few little drops. This is Honey Gold Nouveau Glitter Drops, and that's it for that card. Now we're going to jump into card number 2, and I wanted to use this beautiful sunflower in the stamp set. This is the Happy Harvest stamp set. I'm going to place it on my acrylic block, and then using a piece of, this is Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. I'm going to be doing some heat embossing, so I'm using my anti-static powder tool, and then some Versamark ink. I'm just going to stamp the image all over this entire panel. Now you won't be able to see where I stamped it, but I did use some white embossing powder over that entire area. You can kind of see it there. I went ahead and heat set that. Now I'm going to color in this beautiful sunflower with some distress inks. Now I'm using mustard seed and just using my finger daubers, going to circle around the sunflower. And then after I used the mustard seed, I went in with some spiced marmalade. I ran around the outer edge of the sunflower. Now for the center, I went in with some tea dye. I just love the colors of sunflowers. I think they're so pretty. And then once I have all those centers done, for the very middle, I went in with some ground espresso. So those are my beautiful sunflowers. I think they turned out so pretty and so soft. I really like the outcome. Now, I thought, since this card is just 1 layer, I thought I'd use this beautiful matte gold cardstock that came in the kit. I'm just scoring it at 4 1/4, and then, no, I'm scoring it 5 1/2, sorry. And then I'm trimming it down to 4 1/4 to make my card base. I'm going to add some fun foam behind this panel and just pop that right in the center of that beautiful gold card base. Now for my sentiment, I am going to stamp the sentiment that says, from my home to yours. but I'm going to use my scissors and trim the sentiment. So instead of it going vertical, I want the sentiment to go long horizontally. So I trimmed it into 3 different places, and I'm going to stamp it using some Versamark ink on a piece of the same gold, that matte gold cardstock there. I'm going to go in with some Glacier White embossing powder from Nuvo, and I went ahead and heat set that. Now I'm going to cut out the sentiment using one of my dies from my stash, and then I just popped it up, placed it on the bottom of my card, and that's it for card 2. Now for card 3, oh no, that's not it. I did add some sequins. Oops. The kit did come with some real pretty sequins, so I just added a few here and there. Now for my next card, I am going to cut out a little piece of this paper here. It's a beautiful orange color, and I'm going to use the pattern paper that has the words all over it. I'm going to adhere that orange to the bottom, and then to cover up that seam, I'm going to take one of the border stickers. I just wanted to cut off just enough for what I needed. I'm just going to cover that seam up with that striped border sticker there. And then I'm going to go in with a stitched rectangle die, and I'm going to cut out a panel all at once here. So there we have our panel. Lovely. Now the kit did come with some chipboard stickers, and if you'd like to know everything that came in this kit, at the end of the video I will leave an unboxing. That way you can check out everything that came in the kit here. But the chipboard stickers have these tags that spell out the word autumn, and so I'm taking some twine from my stash, and I'm just going to add some twine to each of those little tags. Once I have all of the twine added, I'm just going to arrange them to where they'll fit towards the bottom of this panel here, and I'm kind of layering them. Like the A is adhered directly to the panel, and then the U is popped up, and then just repeated that. I gathered all the strings and then kind of tucked them behind that panel. And then to finish off the sentiment, there's a sticker sheet that has some alphabet letters. I added the word blessings down on the bottom, so my sentiment will say autumn blessings. Now I'm going to add some fun foam behind that panel, covering up the ends of the twine there. And then there's 2 little itty bitty like maple leaves in the chipboard. I'm going to add that right underneath the knot that I created with the twine there. And then to cover up the knot, I'm just going to tie a bow with some twine, the coordinating twine that I used, and place it right on top. Trim off the ends there. Adjust my bow, and then I'm just going to remove the backing off of that fun foam and place it on a red card base. Now this card base is from my stash, but I thought the colors just went perfectly together. And that's it. That's card number 3. Now for card number 4, I am going to use this real pretty fall leaf pattern paper, and I'm going to trim it down. I'm actually going to trim it down to 3 1/4 by 5 1/2. So it will fit the length of my card base. And then just to give it a little touch of shimmer, there's this beautiful gold textured paper. I'm going to add a strip of that to the right side of this panel here. Lovely. I'm just going to adhere my panel to my card base. Now I'm going to adhere it all the way to the left side of my card base. Now when I have that done, I'm going to use some more stickers. Now this sticker here creates like a little window frame. I actually added some foam tape behind it to pop it up a little bit, and I'm going to place that in the center of that pattern paper there. Next I'm going to take the inside of that sticker area, and I'm going to take it out of the sticker sheet because I want to, there's a little bit of a border on there. You could probably skip this part, but I wanted it to be just a one color since there was so much going on that little area. So I just trimmed off that little border on there. Now I'm going to remove the backing off the sticker and place it inside each of those little windows. Now once I have that done, I grabbed 3 buttons from my stash. There's like a rust color, a red, and a green. And then using some white, or this is a vanilla colored, cream colored jute cord, I'm just going to thread that button, and then I'm going to tie a bow right on top of it. I did that to all 3 buttons. On the stickers in the centers, there were little buttons, so I just added my own from my stash. I'm going to trim off the ends, and just using a glue dot, I'm going to adhere each of those little buttons inside the center of those pretty flowers. For my sentiment, I grabbed a piece of the chipboard stickers there, and there was the chipboard sticker that says Happy Thanksgiving. I think that would look really nice on this card. So I'm just going to use my vintage photo distress ink and go around the edges. I think that just gives my chipboard a finished look. And I just placed that on my card base. And that's it for that card. Now we're going to move along to card number 5. Now card number 5, I'm going to use this real pretty pattern paper. And I wanted to create a tag using this corrugated specialty paper. So I have a tag die from my stash. I'm just going to trim that out. And then using a rectangle die, I'm going to create a window. I'm going to turn this tag into a shaker. So I cut out a back panel that was the same size as my tag. There we go. And I cut out a piece of acetate. And then here's my tag friend. The corrugated paper actually is not that bulky, and it did flatten a little bit when I ran it through my die cut machine, but it still had that same texture, which I really liked. I'm just going to build my shaker by adding my acetate sheet to the back here. Pop it up with some foam tape. And then I wanted to add some of these little button stickers to that back panel. These button stickers actually kind of coordinate with the pattern paper there. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment. For this sentiment I used Happy Fall Y'all. It's a fun sentiment. And then I'm going to finish off by adding a few more of those stickers. I'm just going to go ahead and add my sequins and create my little shaker tag here. I'm going to place that right on the back carefully, and then there we have our little shaker tag. Now I'm going to use that white jute cord that I have, or well, it's not white, it's actually like a vanilla color. I'm just going to add that to my little tag and then tie a little bow with it. Lovely. Now I'm going to place my pattern paper on a vanilla card base, and then I'm going to add my tag. Okay, wonderful. Now there's some chipboard stickers that are the same, like wooden spool tops as the pattern paper that I used. So I'm going to create a little cluster on the bottom of that tag. I'm just going to layer 4 of those little buttons and wooden spool tops. And to give it a finished look again, I'm going over with my vintage photo distress ink. I added the remaining 2 stickers, and I popped them up and I put them on that pattern paper panel back there just to add a little bit of dimension. And that's it for that card. Now for card number 6, I'm going to create a oval frame using this textured gold cardstock that came in the kit. And then I'm also going to cut out 3 of these long leaves using that same pattern paper. This is what I'm going to call my mess up card. I mean, I kept trying over and over with this card, and it was a process that was so simple, but I was having a huge problem with it. I took a piece of white cardstock and I drew a line around the inside of the oval. That way I know where to stamp this really pretty leaf in the stamp set. I'm using my Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I'm going to stamp the leaf 2 times. My intention was to color it in on the panel and then put the frame on top of it. But when I added my sentiment, boy, I kind of made a mess. I went heavy-handed with the sentiment that said Happy Thanksgiving. I used my Versamark ink, and I think I pressed too hard on my panel there. And so my sentiment was very thick and ugly. So I added my gold embossing powder here, and then here you can see how awful I stamped it. And so I kind of rubbed it off, and then I decided to put it through my Misty, and then I thought I could use my VersaFine ink, and it was a mess too. My sentiment was ruined. So I decided just to start all over, and so I cut out a panel with the ivory cardstock, and then I cut out my little maple leaves there, and then I did use my mini Misty to stamp the sentiment. This is Happy Thanksgiving. I used my gold embossing powder, and then popped up my oval frame with some foam tape, and then I'm just arranging my little scene there. And actually the outcome, it turned out better. I mean, I like the fact that it was popped up. For my stash, I have this kind of a fall colored ribbon. I tied a bow right in that cluster of leaves that I created. I popped up my panel with some fun foam, and I'm just going to place that in the center of my ivory card base. Now for a little bit of bling, I'm adding a few sequins here and there that coordinate with my maple leaves there and my bow. And basically that's it for that card. My problem card. But I think it turned out really pretty. Okay, now moving on to card number 7. I have this circle frame. It's a pretty large circle frame, and I cut out a panel using the burlap 6x6 paper in this kit, and then I'm going to cut out this little carrot scene little cutout here. Once I have that cut out, I'm just going to use my scissors and to kind of distress the edges. And then I did go around the edges of that with some vintage photo distress ink. I kind of tore a little bit of the edge. I wanted a real weathered look for this tag. I think weathered look and the burlap go good together. On the reverse side of that carrot panel, there's some real pretty yellow pattern paper. So I cut out a panel with it. Using my tape runner, I'm going to add some tape behind my burlap circle there, and I'm going to place it on that panel. Add some more glue, and I'm going to directly adhere that to my card base. My card base for this card is that beautiful goldish, orangish specialty cardstock that came in the kit. It's real pretty. I'm just going to trim off any excess there. And then I did pop up that carrot panel with some fun foam. I'm going to place that on my card base here. Now for a little bit of extra, I'm going back to those chipboard stickers, and there's these 2 swirls. There's an orange one and a brown one. I'm going to add that towards the bottom portion of that that carrot panel there. For my sentiment, there's a chipboard sticker that says Farm Fresh. This is kind of like my universal card. I just popped that over the edges of those swirlies, and then I went in with my Spectrum Noir shimmer pen, added a little bit of shimmer and shine, and that's it for that card. Now for card number 7. Did I go back? Oh no, card number 8. Okay, I wanted to color in these cute little corn. Every time I see corn, it reminds me of that movie with Tom Hanks that long time ago. It was called Big, where he ate those little itty bitty corns. So that's when I see corn, that's what it reminds me of. But I just colored them in and fussy cut them out. I used my alcohol markers to color them in. I cut out a panel of the pattern paper that had the little corn stalks on it, and then also a larger panel that had the fall words. I'm going to adhere that fall word panel to my card base. This is a red card base that I took from my stash. Then I'm going to pop this panel up with some fun foam. I wanted to use the large yellow swirly in the chipboard, and I placed that at a diagonal on that panel. And then I'm going to pop up my little corn cobs and place them right in the center. Once I have that done, for my sentiment, I'm going to use a chipboard piece that says I love autumn. Just going to use some distress ink around the edges, and then just place that right below my little corn cobs. Now for little bling-a-ling, I went in with some honey gold Nuvo glitter drops and added a little bit of drops here and there to the corn kernels, and then also to the heart. It says I heart autumn, so I covered up the heart with the honey gold glitter drops. And that's it for that card. Now for card number 9, I wanted to cut out 3 leaves using these 3 pattern papers. And then I also cut out 3 leaves using that specialty gold cardstock. I'm just going to layer the colored leaves on top of the gold, leaving a little bit of a gold border. I think they look so pretty that way. And then I did take the same specialty paper and I cut out a frame, just using 2 of my rectangle dies. For this card, I want to create a shaker card, so I'm going to adhere a piece of acetate to the back of the frame and pop it up with some foam tape. I'm just going to go ahead and add my sequins, and then I'm going to place my shaker window directly on my card base, and I'm using some of the same card base that has the specialty paper that has the gold kind of a shimmer to it, and I think that looks so pretty. I'm just going to arrange my 3 leaves in the center of that frame. I'm just going to pop them up with some dimensional adhesive. I kept this card kind of simple because the I didn't want it to be too busy with the shaker in the background. Now for my sentiment, I'm going to take one of the stickers in the sticker sheet that says cool breeze and autumn leaves, but I thought it just kind of got lost behind the sequins, so I'm going to put this on the same color cardstock background, but I'm going to fishtail the end of the sticker and then stick it on there, and I'll trim it down with my scissors, and I just place that in the bottom of those leaves, and that's it for card 9. Now for my final card, I decided to kind of go outside the fall theme and use the strawberries. So I'm cutting out this little cut apart that has the strawberries, and it has a sentiment that says "So kindness." I'm finishing the edges with some vintage photo. Now I'm going to take this pattern paper here and cut out a panel, and then I'm going to take that corrugated, kind of like an olive green specialty cardstock. I'm going to cut out a panel with that, or actually a banner with that. For my card base, I'm going to use a red card base from my stash. I'm going to add my pattern paper behind here, and then I'm just going to pop up my banner, or my banner. I'm going to trim it down just a little bit, and I'm going to place that right in the center of my card base. Lovely. Now I'm going to add my little strawberry piece right there. I think looks great. And then I thought I needed a little bit of color. It's awful dark, so I'm taking some of the vanilla colored twine and I tied a bow at the top. Now I took 3 pieces of the chipboard. There was a tag, a button spool top, and then there was a little striped flag. I just layered them together on that strawberry tag there and kind of created my own 3D tag. And then actually the center of that tag had a little bit of a chipboard circle. I just placed that in the center of that button spool where the "So Kindness" sentiment was. Add a little dimension there. I added some more of that jute cord to my little strawberry tag, and I'm just going to tuck it behind my panel there using my tape runner. Lovely. And that's it. That's that card. Here's a quick look at all 10 cards I made using the Happy Harvest. It's a special edition Thanksgiving kit from Love from Lizi. They are still available if you want to check them out. I'll leave links below to Lizi's shop. I hope this gives you some ideas and inspiration on how to use this kit. I wish you a fantastic day, and again, if you missed the unboxing, I'll include it at the end here. I do show close-up pictures of all 10 cards if you want to stick around. And again, as always, have a fantastic day. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.